So guys, if you are looking for opportunities to migrate to Sweden, then this is a video you should watch, and make sure that you watch the video till the end. What is happening to the camera? I believe my tone is better. Make sure you watch the video to the end, because in this video I'm going to be revealing a lot of things to you that you need to understand. First of all, know that Sweden is a country that if you want to migrate as an international student, they have a central admissions system. All right, the admissions, let me say, the platform that you are going to be applying for study opportunities to Sweden is it is a central system where all the universities with all the programs are placed inside. All right, but in some cases you may still find universities that you cannot go through the central system. I hope you understand. Now I will be telling you some universities that you can apply to in Sweden. All right, so that at the end of the day you shouldn't doubt what is happening. You should apply to some of these universities. All right, especially the first one that I will be giving you. Now, before I even give you the list of the universities you should apply for in Sweden, understand that Sweden is a very cool country, a very welcoming country, and if you have the opportunities to migrate to Sweden, then you should migrate. The embassy is in Abuja, Nigeria. For those who are watching me from other countries that don't have it, I understand people are watching me from Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. People are watching from South Africa, Cameroon, and all over the world. So for those in Nigeria, I know you are watching and the embassy is in your country. Now, there are some advantages I will be giving you here that if you didn't know, you should understand that Sweden have these advantages. All right, the first one is that if you live in Sweden for 5 years, you stand a chance to get the permanent residency in Sweden. All right, and again, understand that in Sweden there is also a possibility for you to migrate using the skilled worker visa. All right, I know a lot of people still don't understand this technique. All right, because the skilled worker visa is already in Portugal, it is already in Germany, now it is in Sweden, but a lot of people don't know. All right, make sure you find out information, legit information. If you have qualifications, you can get the skilled worker visa and you migrate to Sweden, so that and look for a job. All right, it is possible now. You do not need a degree. All you need is to make sure you have all the requirements, all right, to migrate to Sweden and get and look for a job. And it is very possible if you meet all the requirements and the monetary aspect of it as well. Now, like I said, if you stay in Sweden or if you live in Sweden for 5 years, you can get residency. Degrees in Sweden are highly recognized around the world. All right, and again, you can study a bachelor's degree in English, you can study a master's degree in English and a PhD in English in Sweden. All right, but if you are studying a PhD rather, they would be paying you. So normally, if you are doing a PhD, you are obviously working on a research, or you may be working with an organization. All right, and most of these organizations will equally pay you if you are studying in Sweden. I mean the PhD. It's same thing in Germany, and remember, Germany is also looking for skilled workers, so you can get a skilled worker visa for 6 months. All right, and you migrate to these countries and of course look for employment. Now, also understand that there are a lot of advantages in Sweden if you want to study there as an international student. The first advantage I want to talk about is there is an availability of scholarships. Though the tuition fee in Swedish universities is somehow expensive, but you still stand a chance to get a fully funded scholarship. That is something you should put into consideration when you are trying to apply for these universities using universityadmissions.se. You are going to come across, if you go to the scholarship section, you will realize that they have this scholarship called the SI, the Swedish Institute Scholarship, or is it called the Swedish? There is an SI scholarship on that particular website. You can check it out. All right, a lot of people have got that scholarship, or let me say a lot of people applied in the past and they got the scholarship. So that is something you should put into consideration. It is very, very important for you to consider getting the scholarship. Well, you can apply for admissions if you have the money that you can pay a tuition fee. Why not? You can pay a tuition fee, you pay. But if you cannot pay, I will advise you to try to get the Swedish Institute Scholarship. That is the first advantage. Then Sweden is one of the most sustainable countries in the world. All right, I think it is the first or the third in Europe. I can't remember vividly, but understand that in Sweden most of the things are recycled. All right, it is a renewable country. That is what I mean by sustainability, which is very important. As an environmentalist like me, And if you are an environmentalist, you are looking to study in Sweden, there are a lot of universities I will list here. They have environmental programs, environmental science, and of course geoscience programs that you can equally study in Sweden. All right, now Sweden is also a good country for you to study and look for jobs after you finish your education. All right, it is very, very possible, though a lot of people still don't understand. But if you live in Sweden or if you study in Sweden, of course you can get a job in Sweden after you finish your studies. Some countries may not give you, but I want to tell you that most of the countries in Europe now, most of the European countries we have now are looking for opportunities to retain graduates. All right, because they are running out of labor. That is why they brought out this issue of 6 months maybe job search visa. I hope you understand. So Swedish is one of those countries. Another advantage you can get when you are a student in Sweden is that you are going to learn Swedish. All right, it is very possible you can learn Swedish studying in Sweden. If you move from your home country without any knowledge of the Swedish language, you can equally learn this language. It is very easy. I live in Turkey, or not really in Turkey, in an island close to Turkey for 3 years, but I speak at least intermediate Turkish now because I was interacting with a lot of Turkish citizens. All right, so that is the advantage of living in a foreign country. And make sure if you are moving to a foreign country, make sure you try to learn the language, because it is very, very important for you to learn the language of any place you go. Try to learn the foreign language of any country you go. It is very, very important, guys. Very, very important. All right, now let's go to the list of universities you are going to be applying for. Remember, I said in Sweden you can study a bachelor's and you can study a master's degree. All right, and for you to study these degrees, you need to verify which universities have them. For example, remember Swedish have 2 intakes. All right, the spring intake and the autumn intake. There is another intake which is going to close very soon. And when you are applying for universities in Sweden, if you are going through the central platform called universityadmissions.se, pay attention to dates. All right, there is a date for you to apply, there is a date for submission of documents, there is a date for payment of application fee, there is a date for ranking of courses. Because another advantage in Sweden is that you are opportune to rank all your courses. Let me say apply for more than 2-3 courses. You can apply for maximum 5 courses. All right, in the Swedish portal called universityadmissions.se. Remember, there is an application fee you are going to pay, a 90 euros application fee, which is equivalent, I think it should be 900 SEK, which is the Swedish money, 900 of Swedish money, which is equivalent to around 90 euros. All right, so that is the money. Now, when you go in there, remember there are courses which are not meant for international students. As an international student who need a study visa to Sweden, the courses you should be applying to should be courses that have at least 60 credits or 120 credit, 180 credits. The reason is because you need a study visa. Most of those courses you are going to find in that platform or universityadmissions.se with 7.5 credits are not courses that will give you a student visa. All right, there is something that you are going to get when you arrive Sweden, and it is I think it should be an insurance. All right, they call it the insurance, or it should be a medical insurance or something. So now, if you don't apply for a course that you are going to live in Sweden for at least 1 year, when you arrive Sweden, it will be difficult to get that document, and without that document you cannot work in Sweden. You should know all of these things, and remember, it is very, very important for you to put things into consideration before you start anything. All right, put this into consideration. Now remember again that Swedish universities charge a lot when it comes to tuition fee. That is why you will always find students running away to other countries. All right, Swedish charge a lot. So if you are applying to a university, remember that the tuition fee is always displayed on the website, all right, in universityadmissions.se. And that tuition fee that you see, you will always find the first installment that you are going to pay. So make sure you always put this into consideration, so that when you get admissions, you just start, you don't start running around again. I have a lot of friends who had to abandon their applications. Let me say they got admissions, but they couldn't pull through because they can't afford the money. Probably they never knew about it. All right, so if you don't have money, pursue scholarships. Do not go for Sweden, or look for other countries like Austria that are very cheap. All right, or maybe try schools like grad schools in the United States that sometimes you may even study for free. All right, it is very important. Now, those universities you should be targeting in case you are looking for admissions to study in Sweden include university number 1. We have the University of Umeå. I actually know some guys from Africa studying in this university. So I would suggest that it is a good school for geoscience students and environmentalists. if you are looking for schools that will offer you or courses in chemical engineering and of course computer technology, you should be looking at a university like the University of Stockholm, all right, and the University of Uppsala. These universities have more of engineering and science courses like biology, chemistry, and physics, so you can check them. The University of Stockholm is another school. The University of Uppsala is another school. All right, we equally have Linköping University. All right, I will put them somewhere up here so that you can actually see. Before I forget, guys, if you had not liked this video, please give this video a like now. Press the like button and make sure you subscribe below. All right, subscribe so that we can push the channel forward. We need to be 25,000 before the end of December. Thank you so much for understanding. Now you equally have a university like the University of Malmo. This one is found in the city of Malmo. You equally have the University of Gothenburg. All right, like I told you, make sure you always check the tuition fee before you start applying to these universities, because I know, I have seen it. That is why I'm telling you people, make sure you consider tuition fee, so that when you start the application process, you shouldn't be like, I didn't know that this is how the tuition fee is going to look like. No, consider the tuition fee before you start your application. Now, another university you should be looking at is the Chalmers University of Technology. All right, this is another very important school you can apply to. Then you equally have the University of Uppsala, I talked about before, and of course Karolinska Institute of Technology. All right, these are schools in Sweden. There are a lot of them. All right, I do not want to be listing them or maybe talking about them over and over again. Remember, there are requirements you equally need to study in Sweden, and let me just brief you on the requirements you need. Now, I have talked about some universities you can apply to. Let's talk about the requirements. As a bachelor student who is about to study in Sweden, I will encourage you not to try to apply with an HND. If you have an HND, you shouldn't be looking at schools in Sweden, because sometimes schools in Sweden and Austria may not admit students with HND. All right, it is very rare in those countries. But if you have an HND, try to step it up a bit, okay? Then you try to apply. Now, if you have an educational gap, I would suggest that you support your admissions with working experience. I hope you get it. Now, requirements to study in Sweden are not really that complicated, especially if you are going through universityadmissions.se. Make sure you don't start application without your international passport. It is very important, very, very important. Now, if you have your international passport, another document you should check if you are applying for bachelor's degree should be your high school document, like your WAEC, your WESE, O levels and advanced level for those coming from Francophone countries or West Africa or Cameroonians, for example. All right, then you can equally support that. If you are going for master's degree, you should attach your transcript and the diploma. All right, you also attach your high school documents. Okay, they are very important. Then remember, English proficiency is very important. All right, it is very, very important, because at the end of the day, when you have admissions, they will need you to present, let me say, they will always be asking for English proficiency no matter what. All right, you may find it on the university's website that you do not need English proficiency, but the universities will ask you, they would ask you. So this is something you should consider before doing your application. All right, if you come from a country like Nigeria where English is the first language, of course, if you have been studying in English language, no problem. You can tell the universities that you actually studied in English. Then will they be able to waive it for you? Send them emails, and equally you attach your educational certificate. All right, that way you may stand a chance. It is not everybody that they will favor. All right, but remember that without these proficiency exams or this English test, your chances of getting into the programs are very limited. But however, those who are coming from Cameroon, there is something I want to elaborate on here. If you actually you want to study in Sweden for master's degree, all right, go to the GCE board. If you actually pass English at all levels, go to the GCE board, tell them to give you confirmation that you pass English, especially those of you that will be applying to the University of Umea. All right, there is a university here, the University of Umea. So understand that with this university, you can equally, or with that document I told you about from the GCE board, you can actually study in Sweden without showing any other English proficiency. I hope you understand. Now, I think these are some of the documents you need. Then if you get the admissions, which I believe you are going to get, you have to now apply for a study visa. All right, applying for a study visa to Sweden is not really a problem to those in Nigeria, but of course it's going to be a problem to people who have to migrate to Nigeria or who have to move to Nigeria to apply for the visa. But like I said, everything being equal, you just have to push hard. All right, don't get an admissions and to apply for a visa again it is a problem for you. No, keep pushing till you get everything you need. All right, I hope this is going to help you. Tuition fee, I already talked about that. If you are applying for a bachelor's degree or master's degree, you should budget at least 140,000 Swedish krona. All right, this money should be at least 1.8 million CFA francs. All right, now you can convert to your own local currencies depending on where you are watching from. Maybe if you are watching from Pakistan, India, Kuwait or Bahrain or Canada or New Zealand or whichsoever place, please understand that schools in Sweden are very expensive. Okay, so convert this money, and when you are applying, you will always see the first deposit you have to deposit when you get admissions, and of course the total tuition fee. All right, so that is what you should note. I hope this will help you. If it does, please share this video to one person. Thank you so much. Until we meet again, bye.